Good morning, everybody. I think most of the students have joined. We'll continue our topic acids, bases, and non-aqueous solvents. Last time we have seen the HSAB concept, where we have seen the concept that is a G.N. Lewis. He predicted the stability of the complexes formed between the hard and soft acids and bases. Hard acids prefer to bind with hard bases and vice versa. That means hard interactions or soft interactions that always leads to a stable complex. So the HSAB concept or HSAB principle is nothing but hard acid combines with hard base so as to form a stable complex. Soft acid combines with soft base so as to form a stable complex. So this is how the scientist G.L. Lewis suggested the hard and soft interactions they lead to the stable complex. G.L. Lewis has classified the hard and soft acids and bases depending upon the concept of polarizability. We have seen last time the concept of polarizability is nothing but when two oppositely charged ions when are placed at equilibrium distance, cation being small in size, it tends to attract the electron cloud of anion because as we know anions are having larger atomic size or ionic size. Because they have a larger atomic or ionic size, the nuclear force of attraction over the outermost electron that goes on decreasing as the size increases. And cation being small in size, it tends to attract the outermost electrons of the anion towards itself. So cation is polarizing and anion is polarizable. So this is the basic concept upon which HSAB concept of classification of acids and bases that depends. Acids and bases classified into in all 6 different types, amongst which the 4 major types are hard acids, soft acids, hard bases, soft bases, borderline acids, and borderline bases. Now, what are these hard acids? We have seen last time that these are basically Lewis acids, and these are having a very small size. Because they have very small size, the electron cloud of which cannot be easily polarized, they have the metals which are having higher oxidation states. These are categorized under these hard acids. For example, hydrogen, sodium, aluminum plus 3, magnesium plus 2, these are the some representative cations which are grouped under hard acids. The second class that we have studied is soft acids. These are again basically these are again basically Lewis acids which are large in size. Because they are very large size, the electron cloud of which is easily polarizable. The metals which are having low oxidation states are the good examples of soft acids. For example, copper plus 1, Ag plus 1, Au plus 1. These are the representative examples under soft acids. The third category is known as the hard bases. These are basically again hard bases. The anions or certain neutral molecules which are grouped under these hard bases, the electron cloud of which is not at all easily polarized because of the small size. The examples of which are the anions such as fluoride, hydroxyl ion, nitrate ion amongst anions, and amongst neutral molecules, water molecule, ammonia molecule, these are the good examples under hard bases. The soft bases are nothing but these are basically Lewis bases. These are These are the anions, the electron cloud of which is easily polarized because of larger size. The representative examples under this category are cyanide ion and iodide ion. These are the representative examples under soft bases. Then again, there are two subclasses under acids and bases, that is borderline or intermediate acids. For example, Fe plus 2, cobalt plus 2, nickel plus 2. These are the borderline or intermediate acids. And second class is a borderline or intermediate bases. For example, the anions such as NO2, SO3. These are the examples under borderline or intermediate bases. So this part that we have already studied. Today we are going to move to the next aspect of this topic, that is the acid basis strength in terms of softness and hardness with regard to the stability. As we know that just now we have seen that the acids and bases are conveniently classified into these 6 different types. Now the hardness and softness specially refers to the stability of the complexes formed between hard and soft interactions. So, how to determine the stability of either soft acid, soft base or hard acid, hard base? To determine the stability of soft and hard acids and bases, particularly I am explaining the hard acid, hard base and soft base, for which one calculation, simple calculation was given. Based on this calculation, the softness and hardness of bases can easily be calculated. Let us see how the softness and hardness can be calculated by using this relation. In this context, we have to take into account the use of methyl mercury cation, that is CH3 methyl mercury cation. So this is a methyl mercury cation. This is used to determine the softness and hardness of base. Suppose for example, you have to listen very carefully because this is very simple, appears to be very simple, but some steps are rather difficult to understand. So please listen very carefully. Suppose for example, BH is any base. BH is any base. Its reaction with methyl mercury cation. Its reaction with methyl mercury cation can be carried out. For example, BH is any base. Its reaction with methyl mercury cation. If we try to carry out this particular reaction, then this reaction leads to CH3Hg B plus H plus. Now, if we suggest the equilibrium constant, that is a capital K for this reaction, what is the equilibrium constant according to Maslow's equation? We are very well aware with the Maslow's equation. What is the Maslow's equation? The active masses of the products divided by the active masses of the reactants. Here, the active masses of the product, that means we have to keep always in square bracket CH3 Hg B plus into active mass of H plus divided by active mass of the reactants, that is BH plus CH3 Hg plus, that is methyl mercury cation. So this is how we have arrived at the equation number 1. By applying Maslow's equation for this particular reaction between the base BH plus and methyl mercury cation, we have obtained this Maslow's equation, that is capital K for this above reaction. Now, if by adding the concentration of capital B to this equation number 1, this becomes, so if we add the concentration of capital B, this equation number 1 becomes as capital K is equal to CH3Hg B H plus, we have to add the concentration of B here. Similarly, we can write concentration of BH plus into concentration of methyl mercury cation into concentration of B. So, by putting the concentration of capital B in equation 1, we have obtained this particular new equation. Now, here, if we take for instance the ionization of BH plus, that is base, that ionizes into like this, the ionization of BH plus is gives H plus and B. So if we cancel the identical terms, if we cancel these identical terms, this we refer as a equation number 2. By cancelling the identical terms, we can obtain Ks, that is known as the formation constant. Ks is nothing but the formation constant. This equation becomes as equation number 2 becomes as CH3Hg B plus divided by CH3Hg plus into B. So we have arrived at the formation constant by removing the identical terms. Now, if we want to determine the dissociation constant, Ka is nothing but it is a dissociation constant. We can determine this dissociation constant by taking into account the ionization of base BH plus, which gives the final product as B plus H plus. So the dissociation constant can be calculated, that is Ka can be calculated by considering this particular ionization of base. So again, by applying the mass law equation for this particular ionization of base, the concentration or active masses of the products divided by active masses of the reactants. So the active mass of capital B into active mass of capital H plus divided by active mass of or the concentration of BH. So this equation is known as the Ka, which is nothing but the dissociation constant. So this dissociation constant is applied for the ionization of base, and the formation of constant that is applied for the methyl mercury cation, the reaction of methyl mercury cation with the base. So these are the two different entities that I have represented. Now, by putting, if we put Ks and Ka, that is formation constant and dissociation constant, in equation number 2, the further equation that proceeds as K is equal to Ks into Ka. That means it is a product of the formation constant and the dissociation constant, which gives the equilibrium constant of K for the ionization of methyl mercury cation. Now, with the help of this particular equation, that is the product of formation constant and the dissociation constant, one can determine the stability in terms of strength of base. For example, if the value of this K, if the value of this K is less than 1, if the value of this K, if it is less than 1, then the base is hard. So if the value of this K, if it is less than 1, then the base is hard. And if the value of K is greater than 1, then the base is soft. So with regard to the stability in terms of softness and hardness, we have arrived at the value of capital K. So in every reaction, if we put the values of all these parameters, then if the value of this K, that is equilibrium constant, if it is less than 1, then that value indicates that the base is hard. And if by putting the values of all these parameters and if the value is greater than 1, then the base is soft. So this is how we can determine the stability of different ions, different cations, by using this mass law equation. It's a very simple calculation. Now based on this, we have to see certain applications of HSAB principle, because many times the question on these applications of HSAB principles has been asked. So applications of HSAB concept or HSAB principle. The applications of HSAB concept are numerous in number, but we are going to discuss here a simplest possible applications of HSAB principle. These applications are very simple to understand because you are very well aware with the concept of HSAB, that is hard interactions always leads to a stable complex, and soft interactions that leads to again a stable complex. That means the hard soft interactions are not at all possible. This meaning that these interactions are rather impossible. Now there are 5 such applications of these HSAB principle. The first important application is stability of complex. Stability of complex. Now what is this stability of this complex? HSAB concept explains the stability of certain complexes. For example, this is silver iodide ion Ag2 minus. How this silver iodide anion is stable, that can be very well studied by applying HSAB concept. As we know, here if we carry out this particular reaction Ag plus 2I minus, that gives to the product as Agi2 minus. Here this particular product, that is silver iodide anion, is very much stable. This is the fact that silver plus ion is a soft acid. Silver plus ion is a soft acid. What is a soft acid? Silver ion has a very easily donates H plus ion, that is a proton, and iodide ion is a soft base. So here there is an interaction between soft acid and soft base that leads to a stable complex. So soft interaction that leads to a stable complex. Now suppose if we carry out a particular reaction of silver ion, which is, as we know, it is a soft acid, with fluoride ion. Here if we carry out such particular reaction, that is AgF2 minus, similar to that of Agi2 minus. Here the product thus obtained by interaction of soft acid and fluoride ion, that is a hard base. Here soft and hard interactions are there. The product thus obtained is an unstable product. Why the product is unstable? Because in this combination acid is a strong while base is a hard. Acid is a soft and base is a hard. So as per HSAB concept, hard soft interactions are not at all possible, and this particular complex that does not exist, this complex does not exist, or this particular complex is an imaginary complex, because acid is a soft, base is a hard, that leads to an unstable complex. So this leads to that the stability of the complex depends upon soft or hard interactions that always leads to a stable product. We have considered here acid and base soft. If we consider both acid and base hard, then that also leads to a stable complex. So this is a first application of HSAB concept, that soft interactions that always leads to a stable complex. Now the second application is this HSAB concept is used to predict the nature of bonding, is also used for predicting the nature of bonding when ambidentate ligands are used. What is this ambidentate ligands or ambidentate molecules? The word ambidentate means there are certain ligands or molecules which are having the two atoms which are capable of donating the electrons. For example, SCN minus, this is known as thiocyanato ligand, or NCS, NCS minus, this is known as isothiocyanato. So when a particular ligand, if it has sulfur and nitrogen, both are the electron donating groups. It is showing that the 10 minutes are left. So after completion of this 10 minutes, you have to again rejoin by clicking the same link. Here, this is thiocyanato ion, which is having sulfur and nitrogen as the electron donating groups, electron donating atoms. So during the formation of a complex, sometimes sulfur and the metal atom linkage may be there, and sometimes there may be linkage between the nitrogen from thiocyanate ion. So there may be the linkage between sulfur and the metal ion, and there may be a linkage between the nitrogen and metal ion depending upon the hard or soft metal ion that is involved in the formation of a complex. What is this meaning? So such ligands where both the atoms acting as an electron donor are always known as ambidentate ligand. So ambidentate ligand means where this ligand has two atoms which act as electron donor atoms. So how the linkage that is formed? In this case, if we consider an example of palladium PdSCN4 minus to PdSCN4 2 minus, here palladium can form the linkage with sulfur. In this case, palladium coordinates through sulfur atom. Here, this palladium forms a linkage with sulfur atom because palladium is a soft acid and sulfur is a soft base. Because palladium is a soft acid and sulfur is a strong base, and hence palladium can form a linkage between sulfur ion from the complex from this ligand, and this can form a stable complex such as tetrathiocyanato palladium 2 ion. But if we replace palladium with cobalt, then there is some different linkage between the metal atom and the thiocyanato ion. Here, in this case, cobalt forms a linkage with nitrogen from this ligand because cobalt is a hard acid, and from this ligand nitrogen behaves as a hard base that leads to again a stable complex. So the same ligand where the donating atom is different in this case, and in this case donating atom is again different. This is because of the palladium is a metal which is soft acid, prefers to form a linkage through soft base, that is sulfur from this SCN that behaves as a soft base, and hence it can form the linkage or it can coordinate through palladium sulfur linkage. And in this complex, in the second complex of cobalt, here cobalt is a hard acid. It prefers to coordinate through the harder nitrogen atom to establish the cobalt nitrogen linkage. Another example can also be given as that of gold. AuSCN2 1 minus and FeNCS6 3 minus. Here gold can form a linkage with sulfur because gold is a soft acid and sulfur, as we know, it is a soft base. So this linkage that leads to a stable complex of gold. In this case, iron is a hard acid. It can form a linkage with nitrogen. Hard acid, it can form a linkage with nitrogen because nitrogen is a hard base, and that leads to a stable complex, that is FeNCS6 3 minus. So this name of which is a hexa isothiocyanato iron 3 ion, and this is a dithiocyanato gold or orate 1 minus ion. So this is how this HSAB concept that helps to predict the nature of bonding in ambidentate type of ligands, where a ligand that contains two atoms, they are acting as a electron donor groups. This is how we can predict the nature of bonding, that is nature of linkage between the soft acid and the soft base that I have shown here. And this is again another example, hard and hard interaction. So soft interaction that leads to a stable complex, hard interactions that leads to a stable complex. In the first case, palladium cannot form a linkage through nitrogen because palladium being a soft acid, nitrogen being a hard base, so soft hard interactions are not possible. Same is true for cobalt atom also. Cobalt is a hard acid. It cannot coordinate through sulfur linkage because sulfur is a soft base and cobalt is a hard acid. So hard soft interactions are not allowed in this case. So this is how we can predict the nature of bonding between the ambidentate ligand. So first application that we have studied, the HSAB concept is having some tricky applications in order to determine the stability of the complex. Here silver and iodide ion, they leads to a stable complex because both are soft parameters, and the soft hard interactions that also leads to an unstable or non-existing molecule. So this molecule exists only theoretically. So this is how we can predict the stability. We are also able to predict the nature of bonding in ambidentate ligand just by applying this HSAB concept. So 2 minutes are left. We are again going to join after 2 minutes by clicking the same link. So I am going to end up this meeting. You have to join after 2 minutes.